Hello and welcome to classes of Preet. Today we are going to study biology chapter 6 photosynthesis part 2. So let's start. In the previous video, that is photosynthesis part 1, I have discussed what is photosynthesis, chlorophyll, regulation of stomatal opening and closing and opening of stomata. If you haven't checked, please go and check it, and we will start with this video from process of photosynthesis. So let's start. Process of photosynthesis. Mesophyll cells in a leaf are the principal centers of this activity. During daytime, when sunlight falls on the leaf, the light energy is trapped by the chlorophyll of the upper layers of mesophyll. So this energy is utilized in chemical process involved in the manufacture of food, where the raw materials used are carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere enters the leaf by diffusion down a concentration gradient through the stomata, and the second, water from the soil, is taken up by the roots, sent up through the stem, and finally to the leaves, where it is distributed in the mesophyll tissue. The chemical equation to represent this process is 6CO2 plus 12H2O. In presence of light energy and chlorophyll, it gives C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. The glucose molecule C6H12O6 is a simple molecule readily soluble in water. The 6 molecules of H2O liberated at the end of this process are those that are reformed during the chain of reactions and not out of the original ones. Now there are two main phases of photosynthesis. First is light dependent phase, that is also known as photochemical phase. In this phase, light plays the key role. A series of chemical reactions occur in very quick succession, initiated by light, and therefore the phase is called the photochemical phase. The light reaction takes place in thylakoids of the chloroplast. And the second is a light independent phase, that is also known as biosynthetic phase. The old term, this is the new term, that is light independent phase. The old term was dark phase, but it did not mean that it occurs when it is dark, that is at night. It only meant that the reactions are not dependent on light. That is why it is now better to call light independent phase. This reaction in this phase do not require light energy and occur simultaneously with the light reaction. Now, adaptations in leaf to perform photosynthesis. So the first one is larger surface area. For maximum light absorption, narrowing of leaves in certain plants is to minimize transpiration in order to conserve water, as in oleander and pine. Second one is leaf arrangement at the night angle to the light source to obtain maximum light. Cuticle and upper epidermis are transparent and waterproof to allow light to enter freely. Numerous stomata allow rapid exchange of gases. The thinness of leaves reduces the distance between cells, facilitating rapid transport. The chloroplasts are concentrated in the upper layers of the leaf to obtain light energy quickly. Extensive vein system for rapid transport to and from the mesophyll cells. Now we will see the end results of the products of photosynthesis. So there are three end products of photosynthesis. First is glucose, second water, and third oxygen. So glucose, the simple sugar glucose, is used in 4 different ways as required by the plant. First is immediately consumed by the plant cells, second stored in the form of insoluble starch, third converted into sucrose, and the fourth used in synthesizing fats, proteins, etc. The next point is water. The water produced in the process may be reutilized in the continuance of photosynthesis. And the third end product is oxygen. Some of the oxygen may be used in the respiration in the leaf cells. The phenomena is called photorespiration, but the major portion of it is not required and it diffuses out in the atmosphere through the stomata. In a sense, even this oxygen is not a waste, because all our organisms require it for their existence, including the plants which require it at night. Now, utilization of synthesized foods and its translocation. Food manufactured in the leaf is required for use by all other parts of the plant. The glucose is formed in the leaf very rapidly during photosynthesis, and it cannot be transported to other parts with the same rapidity. So, it is converted into insoluble starch for temporary storage in the leaf. At night, The starch is reconverted into soluble sugar, which is transported in solution through the veins of the leaf and down through the phloem of the stem. In this way, it gets transported or translocated to different parts of the plant where it may be reconverted into starch for storage to produce energy for various functions in the plant. Now, factors affecting photosynthesis. So, there are 4 external and 3 internal factors which affect photosynthesis. So, first one is external factors. So, first is light intensity. And carbon dioxide concentration. We would easily think that the rate of photosynthesis will increase with the light intensity. To some extent, it is true. But photosynthesis increases with the light intensity up to a certain limit only, and then it gets stabilized at the point. But if at this point the carbon dioxide concentration is increased, the photosynthesis also increases further and gets stabilized. Now, third, temperature. With the rise in temperature, the rate of photosynthesis rises. This rise occurs up to optimum temperature of 35 degrees Celsius, after which the rate falls and stops above 40 degrees Celsius. At this uppermost limit, the enzymes are destroyed. A rise of 10% up to the optimum temperature doubles the rate of photosynthesis. For example, a rise from 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius or 22 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius, it doubles the rate of photosynthesis. And the fourth one is water content. The scarcity of water due to reduced absorption from the soil or due to an excessive loss through the transpiration reduces the rate of photosynthesis by decreasing diffusive capacity. Due to the closure of stomata, only 1% of water absorbed by the root is utilized in photosynthesis. Now, internal factors. So, the first is chlorophyll. Nutritional deficiencies of mineral cause loss of chlorophyll and hence the drop in trapping solar energy. Second point, protoplasm. Dehydration of protoplasm for some reasons reduces the rate of photosynthesis. Similarly, the accumulation of carbohydrates also reduces the rate of photosynthesis. Third point, structure of leaf. The thickness of cuticle, the distribution of stomata and the size of the leaf influence the amount of energy and the amount of CO2 entering the leaf. Dawn to dusk, natural changes in environmental conditions and photosynthesis. In every period of 24 hours, plants are subjected to a regular cycle of changes in light intensity, and the rate of photosynthesis increases from dawn to midday and declines as dusk approaches. Plants, like other organisms, respire taking in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. In light, the effects of this respiratory activity are masked by those of photosynthesis, and there is a net output of oxygen. And in darkness, respiration alone is responsible for changes in the gaseous composition of plants' surrounding atmosphere. Some desert plants and epiphytes are able to release oxygen even during the night as they perform photosynthesis using a different pathway called a CAM pathway. Examples of such plants include aloe vera, tulsi, neem, peepal, etc. Now, importance of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis supports all life on earth. If there were no green plants, all life on the earth would come to an end. So the first importance it provides food. All animals, including humans, ultimately depend on plants for food. A herbivore plant eater consumes the plant parts directly, while a carnivore flesh eater eats flesh of an animal which in turn was a herbivore. This chain of food dependence is called the food chain. The food chain may have a number of intervening stages, but the starting point is always a plant, which is a producer, which produces its own food through photosynthesis. For example, if we take grass, so the grass is first eaten by insects, then the insects is eaten by frog is eaten by snake, and at last snake is eaten by a peacock. So Non-green plants such as fungi and bacteria obtain their nourishment from decaying organic matter in their environment. This matter comes out from the dead animals and plants which in their own turn were dependent on photosynthesis. And the second point, that it provides oxygen. The life supporting gas oxygen is present in the atmosphere in a free state only because of photosynthesis. Scientists strongly believe that about 2 billion years ago, when there was no life on the earth in any form, there was no free oxygen in the atmosphere. Appearance of green plants set the stage for the animals to appear. Almost all organisms need oxygen for respiration. Now, carbon cycle. So, the carbon cycle is a series of chemical reactions in which carbon is a chemical element and is removed from the air used by living organisms in their body process and is finally returned to the air. So, the essential steps in the carbon cycle are: first is photosynthesis. Green plants, which are the producers, use carbon dioxide of the air to produce carbohydrates. Second, food chains. Through food chains, the food passes on from plants to animal. Um, Carbon is an essential element of all body tissues of both plants and animals. Now the third point, that is respiration. All plants and animals respire by oxidizing carbohydrates in their cells to produce energy and give out carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Now, decay. The dead remains of plants and animals are consumed by bacteria and fungi, and in the process, they break down the organic matter, releasing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Now, the fifth point is combustion. When a fuel such as wood or a fossil fuel like coal, petroleum, or natural gas is burned, the carbon contained in it is oxidized to carbon dioxide, which is given back into the atmosphere. All the fuels named above originally come from the living organisms. Now, the last point is heating limestone. A certain amount of carbon dioxide is released during heating or burning of limestone in lime kilns. So here we have completed the full chapter of photosynthesis. So if you like the video, please turn the black thumb blue and subscribe the channel, and thanks for watching.